All right. Good morning. I think the mic's on. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the coffee run. Little bit late. A little bit late today. Sorry about that. A lot of running around here. Should have been on time because I ended the other show, or I thought early enough, but you know, I have a life too. I got to feed the dogs and everything else. So anyway, here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's jump into it. I got a couple of things here that I want to get through this morning. Specifically, want to talk about the daily paycheck today because some weirdness happened on there, and I also have a cool thing to show you. If you weren't there for daily paycheck, I got something fun to show you. So let's get kicked off here with a couple of news and notes things. The DI stuff boy, we're still having this conversation. It's crazy. I made this comment today on one of the videos from the other day where somebody came in and commented about, there's like this weird, like, negativity, whatever, right now in the group as a whole, right? And I think it's kind of unwarranted if I look at it. And I'll probably do a longer segment on this maybe tomorrow, but I wanted to kind of do a quick addressing of it today. For whatever reason, the anti-Dice influence crowd and the Dice influence crowd are like completely, they've always been at odds, but now it's become more vocal up here, right? And I think what you find is that, like anything else, and I put this in my reply up there, like anything else, right? You've got these like extreme, like there's like the anti-dice control folks are like atheists, right? Like religious atheists. Like not only are you wrong, you're fucking wrong, right? And the Dice influence, the Church of DI, is the same way. Like not only are you wrong, you're fucking wrong. And it's like this whole thing. I think a lot of us really live in the middle ground here where it's like, hey, we love craps, we're trying stuff out, and maybe I'm cautiously optimistic, maybe I don't really believe, but I'm existing. But you get the loud voices for some reason are taking over the storm. And it's uncomfortable, right? It's uncomfortable. Maybe they would both tell you it's uncomfortable for a reason. Like it's good that you're having to challenge yourself and really think about what the practice you're doing is. Or it's good that you're challenging me, right? Because it's going to make you, maybe that's a good thing. Ultimately, I don't know. Right now it just feels tense. And I don't like the tense feeling when I think it's unnecessary. There's no need to be anti anything. I mean, you can be anti whatever, but to make it, it gets personal, right? And I think that's where it's kind of bugging me, is that it's getting personal. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. I've got more thoughts, but this just happened like an hour ago where where I wrote the comment out there, and it's kind of fresh in my mind. And I just want to like restate it again. Like we exist here. We exist here for to provide a voice, right? And yeah, George, I see you're negative. Yeah, there is negativity out there. And it's just in general, like what I'm feeling, George, is more of a tenseness, right? More of a tenseness from people. And for whatever reason, you get put into we have to pick a camp kind of a thing, right? And I don't want to be there, right? I want to enjoy the game, and I'm embarking on the journey of tossing, as you all know, and I'm enjoying that, doing it. But it's some of the negativity and some of the tenseness is just sucking the fun out of it for me right now. I'll be honest with you. It's taking the joy out of it, what should be a fun thing. And that's unfortunate. So I just, like I said, I'm feeling it, and I'm just like, whatever, if you may have noticed, I've been a little grouchy the last few whatevers. And, I just want to put it out there. I'm just feeling the tension, and I don't like it. I don't like the tension. It's unnecessary, and it's coming from everybody, right? From people on both sides of that camp, both camps, I guess, in the thing. And everybody's got. I think if we wind it all down and ratchet it back a little bit, there's super interesting things to hear and say on both ends of it. And I think maybe it's possible that we can come back at some point here in the near future and say, hey, let's get somebody who doesn't really agree with this whole thing and somebody who's all in on this whole thing together on a show and really talk about it. Not throw barbs, not be assholes, but really throw barbs. And that's or really talk like adults. That's what I want to see. I'd love to see that someday, right? I think this week is not the week for it, but maybe some week in the future we can figure it out. Anyway, more on that tomorrow. And again, I've got a show that I'm planning on DI. I'm going to try and wrap up my Pro Craps channel's DI deep dive. Again, I know that I'm still at a 2 on the journey here, but there are things to say still, right? There are things to implant kind of where I personally am with it, but also there's a lot of misinformation, and I want to kind of get a reaction to the misinformation that I've seen out there, specifically with a couple of studies that have been done and the robot that got built and a lot of that stuff there. I want to kind of level set all that and let y'all make your own minds up. So anyway, there's my today's rant on DI, I guess, right? like I said, I'm just whatever. The tension's driving me a little bit crazy, and I think there is room for talk. As long as we can bring it down to proper levels, I think there's room for talk. And I think I know people who don't agree with the DI thing that are willing to talk. And I know there's people on the DI side that are also willing to talk. We just need to find the right time. All right. Wow. Okay. That said, the daily paycheck recap was gross today. We'll talk about, here's Dan. There is no clear definition of DI. And this is, I think maybe we're going to talk about this all day today. There is no clear definition of it. And Arcady says this, DI is one facet of a game that we all seem to love. I don't understand the animosity. The animosity stems from a couple of places, right? There are, and again, I hate to say it like this. It's like church on both sides, right? When you look at slow motion, here's the thing, and I think this is why we say it's a hard conversation to have, because when you look at slow motion, it's hard to look at a slow motion video of dice and think anything other than there's no point to this. When you look at the dice just going all cattywampus, right? It's hard to look at that and go, yeah, you're controlling the dice, right? Yet the folks who practice DI will tell you that matters, but not, because even with the crazy, I don't know if you call it controlled crazy, but there's outcome pockets that they are creating, how they say it, right? The guy who looks at the video and says, no. You're looking at crazy, it's crazy, period. Crazy is random, and that's all there is. The other guy's saying, no, it's crazy, but it's planned crazy, and we kind of know what's going on. There's this weird, like, how do you reconcile those two sides? Because they're both seeing fact, and they're both interpreting their thing in different ways. And I think I'm not intelligent enough to understand how the crazy turns into pockets, but I can see that it does when I'm throwing, right? And when I watch other guys throw. I don't know how it works. I don't know if it works. And like I said, I'm in that cautiously optimistic phase of this whole thing. I want it to be a thing that works. Let's just say that, right? And I'm working hard at making it work. But you're right. Can you define it? No. Gargoyle said the other day, and I think this is an interesting thing, and I repeated it yesterday, I'll repeat it again today, that DI is only partially related to the dice, right? Sure, there's the grip, mechanics, release, all the things that are about the actual outcomes, but he said the DI mindset is one of discipline and focus and concentration and vibe and all the things that come into it, as well as betting patterns. He kind of lumps all that into one thing where the dice are a small part of it. I think some people would tell you that the DI, the dice is all that it is, and the rest of it is kind of ancillary. There's a weird slicing of the pie there that, again, I don't have my feet on either side of the pond there, right? Or either side of the creek. I just don't really know that I get it. I just get the tension right now. So that's where I am. So anyway, there it is. James says, it's nothing more than an attempt to do something. Sure, right? I get you there. And like what I said before is this, like, to me, if you're an amazing strategist, right? If you understand the game, if you're a good strategist, if you're a smart bettor, if you've got good discipline, if you've got the bankroll to do what you want to do, all the things, you're checking off all the boxes, right? And you can throw the dice well, then it makes all those boxes like bolder check marks. It makes them better. It enhances everything. I think DI enhances all of the things if it works. If it doesn't work, then so what, right? That's kind of where I really fall, right? If it works, it makes everything better. If it doesn't work, so what? Because everything that I do, the odds maker that we'll talk about here in a minute, everything I do is planned to work against the regular distribution. Every strategy that I run, everything that I try, that I rely on, I know works well or well enough against the standard random distribution. which means if there is any influence created, then my stuff will work better. That's what I can hope for, right? That's how I view it, right? I don't view it as the way forward, only way to be, right? And I think a lot of people do view it that way. And that's where you get the quote unquote church of DI versus the church of randomness, right? Those two factions cannot coexist because they see everything in black and white. I'm more in that gray area where like, hey, everything I do doesn't need DI, but if the influence works, then my day gets better. That's how I'm approaching it, which I think is a more measured approach that I think probably, honestly, 90+% of us probably think that way. In that 90%, there's going to be some that think, I'm agnostic, but I don't care. There's going to be some that think, maybe it works. Cool, let's try it out. It's the outer extremes that are so loud, and it's like I said, I feel like my soul is being smushed right now. Sorry for the rant. And I was going to do all this tomorrow because I want to get my thoughts clear, but this is just top of mind. And that's kind of where I feel about it, right? So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Hey guys, stop it. Hold on. No, out. Anyway, there it is. There is all of that. So you can't bet, you can't win, right? And if you can bet good, you can win. And if you can shoot, you win more often. Maybe that's the whole answer, right? I'm going to do a little win craps thing, by the way, too, where I'm going to show you again. I think it's important to see this again, where I simulate an SRR of 6.5 and an SRR of 7 in Windcraft with a standard betting strategy. You'll see the difference that it can make. I want you to see like where the target is, because the targeting of that is really cool when it works out. So, all right, here we go. Let's see. Daily paycheck. Oh my God. Let's just move ahead. The daily paycheck today was a freaking train wreck. And I took the loss, right? Obviously, you can't not take the loss because you have to. But I will put a big giant but on this thing. We lost about $1,000 today. We lost like $900 today, something like that. There's two problems that I have with what happened today. One is, I'm not going to say because I was in here doing it instead of in the garage doing it. That has nothing to do with it. Although it does, because the rolls today happened so fast, right? I probably got in 3 times the rolls that I normally get in the garage session. So simulated table time was 3 times what it would have been. In a normal session, I would not have taken more than a couple $100 in loss, right? I wouldn't have let the bankroll get down $1,000 like I did today and try and like hammer my way back. The bankroll got all the way down. I went out with extra odds. I went on tilt a little bit to try and recover some of that. I played it today like I would not play it. So today was a day where I played it differently than I would play it normally. Too much time, too big of bets, trying to chase a little bit. So I'll take it on the chin for doing that, but that's not a normal session. Although, what you can see from the longer session today is that this thing does have holes, right? Every strategy's got holes. And when the rhythm is wrong on a strategy, the rhythm is wrong on a strategy. And today, completely southbound rhythm. Everything was wrong today. We lost probably every bet but like 5, it felt like today, right? Completely bad rhythm. And you can see the bad rhythm that you can get into that will make this one lose. This one has won. It was 5 and 3, but the 3 losses were teeny tiny, just whatever, one pick off kind of losses. We've been kind of doing what it does, which is play pretty steady Eddie with it. Today, played too long, went on tilt, and burned an extra grand that I shouldn't have burned. So again, logged the loss like we ought to, but never would play it that way. So we have to get some work done now. Now we got to get back to work and recover that $1,000 plus earn it back. When you play paycheck style, and I got to make this point again. I made this point a lot during the Dolly Latterson phase. When you play paycheck style, if you're going to be stop loss 0 with a 10% win goal, you can never lose. If you lose a big one, it eats up all your earlier profits. That's why the stop loss in this has to be managed. We got to manage our stop loss. You cannot be out there burning $1 grand, right? Winning $200 at a time. You can't have your average loss be more than what your average win is and be at a 500 level. That's the important thing. So here, let me just highlight that for you. Let me do here. If you're going to be 50-50 like we are here, right? Which you can survive in that world if you're at a 50-50, as long as these are close, Right here, we have one extra win. The loss and the wins are the same average. That's why you're up by basically 1 unit. If $300 is the unit, you're up by 1 unit, and that accounts for that, right? What it should be though is this. This should be average win of 300. This should be an average loss, should be 150. The average loss should be half of what the average wins are. So you got to have a measured stop loss in this thing with a decent win goal. That way, 5 and 4 becomes 1,500 in wins, and 4 losses becomes $600. And that's how you move the needle. Okay, that's the important piece of it. And we missed that mark today because, again, I just played too long. And I was, honest to God, I was a little too excited today. I was too excited to play. I wanted to go for longer. And here's why. If you haven't seen it yet, that's what I played on. That is Jacob from Richmond. This is felt. And it came in the mail yesterday. So I spread the felt out and I wanted to do the thing in here on his felt. And I was so excited about rolling it. I rolled forever and, whatever. I went a little too long with it. So yeah, I made bad decisions today. And when you make bad decisions, when you go off your discipline, this is what happens, right? In my gambling series, I'm talking about this constantly. Let's just move right into it. Let's see, go here. This is a great place to transition, right? You have to have a goal, right? My goal is 10% win goal. My loss goal for this one here is about 5%. I don't want to lose more than half of my win goal. Now I can let the bankroll go beyond that while I'm playing to work it back to a point. But the goal on either side of that has to be kept. My strategy that I'm playing, hold on, the dogs are fighting. The strategy that I play has to account for the wins. How do we win? We stay on rhythm. Today we missed it. Your bankroll accounts for your losses, right? We were able to sustain many more losses today because the bankroll was big, although it hurt us in the end. The mindset is our connection point. Of course, discipline leads to executing all that. Today I lost discipline. And that's unfortunate, right? When your discipline goes south on you, and again, part of it is adrenaline. I wanted to play on Jacob's felt. Part of it is I'm rolling too fast because I want to get through a bunch of rolls. Part of it is I go on tilt to chase the loss. Today, honest to God, no discipline today leads to a huge loss. And that was the problem. And I fully own that, okay? So there's an example. I've been preaching about sticking to your goals and being disciplined and all the good things. The one day I don't do it, bam, get kicked in the teeth. And that's exactly what happens, okay? So to recap all that, to have success, you got to stick to the plan, guys. Goal, strategy, bankroll, mindset. Thank you.
Kill your dog.
Here's the one.
I'm going to kill it.
He's fine. And for success, we got to connect all the dots. We got to connect all the dots, right? You got to leverage everything, your knowledge of the game, the theory, the logic, the math, all of it has to come together for you. You got to manage all of it and be okay with walking. Be okay with walking. Today we didn't walk and we took a loss. So there's all that. No more excuses for it. I can't take an excuse for it. It is what it is. I was struggling for about 30 seconds. I'm like, should I even log this? Because this is not the way I would have played it. You know what I mean? Everything was wrong, but yeah, we got to log it. You got to log it. All right, here we go. Let's go. Let's go and talk about our favorite people. Speaking of the anti-dice control folks, let's do a little reality check here, okay? And I start with a question every day. Does your personality type match your bankroll and match your goals? Those connections have to be made, right? We have been rolling through here different personality types. Today we're going to talk about the Mathletes, the guys who rely solely on the math to make their gambling decisions. And here's how it looks, okay? First things first. What is your bankroll for your session, for your trip, for the shooter, if you're talking about craps? What is your bankroll? That has to drive everything. If you're going to play a big money strategy or a loss chase strategy, you better have bankroll for it. If you're going to play what I'm going to show you today, you better have big bankroll. Playing a mathy way might seem like it's safe. It's not necessarily safe. It does take bankroll to do what we're going to do today. So I'm going to show you that here in a minute, but you got to know what your bankroll is and you got to know what your goals are. Okay. And again, in this session, I'm willing to risk today's statement was this: in this session, I'm willing to risk $2,500 to win 300 by playing the odds maker so that I can build my bankroll. That was my goal statement today, and I didn't stick to it. Okay, I didn't stick to it. I missed the loss limit part of that today. Okay, so there's a goal statement that you have to learn how to make. If you don't make your goal statement ahead of time, you're going to have massive problems later on. Okay, so to rewind that, your personality type has to match the bankroll, has to match your goals. And today we're going to talk about the thinker. Okay, or I'm sorry, the mathlete. Today we're going to talk about the mathlete. We've been through conservative players, right? Conservative players who very bankroll protective, are okay with kind of same bet, small pressing, all about win goals, small win goals, consistent win goals. We've talked about the aggressive player who's always going to be all in. I'm willing to risk my entire bankroll to do what I need to do. The thinker, right? The tinkerer, the strategist who's looking to play chess on the craps table, who's looking to play chess on a roulette table, right? That's our friend Dylan. Right? The thinkers, the tinkerers, the strategists, right? Putting it all together. The mathlete is more mechanical. The mathlete knows all of it, has all the knowledge, has all the math, has all the things compartmentalized and memorized, and plays in a way that suits that purpose. They are fixated, as you'll see here in a minute, fixated on the truth of math, and specifically on the house edge. How do we define a mathlete? My first way to describe a mathlete is that they are the house edge hero. Everything with them is about the house edge. Okay, they'll avoid games that have a high house edge. A mathlete will probably never play roulette. They'll play baccarat because the house edge is 1.2. Right? They'll play craps with odds everywhere because it lowers the house edge. Right? The mathlete has, how do I say this? Resigned themselves to the fact that the casino is going to win. And they've kind of gone, it is what it is. Maybe today's my day. And that's how the mathlete looks at it. They know that over time, they're playing a long game. They're playing 10,000 rolls in their mind. The mathlete is playing 50,000 spins. The mathlete is playing 1,000,000 hands in their mind. And they know that today they might lose 1,000, tomorrow they might win 1,200. They're going to be in these big swings, right? They're okay with that because in the end, they know that they're going to lose 1% in the end. They're okay with that. Okay. In the short term, a mathlete can have discipline though and pop out of a win. So that's going to be the one difference between the mathlete that you would consider and the way that I view them, which is they can play a short game as well in these moments. But the mathlete again is trying to reduce the house edge by playing games that are conducive to lowering the house edge. In craps, that means a molly or a dolly, and that's all that it means. The mathematical driven player will only ever play that. You watched Jack Ace the other day do a video on the best way to play craps. D-Gen's done the same thing. Shackelford's talked about it. The only way to play craps, if you're a mathlete, is the molly or the dolly with max odds. We'll talk about that when I go to my craps table in a little bit. If you're playing blackjack, the only way to play it is as a card counter, an extreme card counter with very disciplined bet leveling. That's the only way to do it. A card counter can flip the edge in their favor. Their bet levels can give them an edge, an actual edge over the house for the time that they're allowed to keep playing. Okay. On I put Molly Dolly in baccarat. That's a bad statement. The baccarat player is playing banker all the time. The banker has a lower house edge than the player. The baccarat math guy is only playing bank. Every hand, shit runner go blind. 50 players in a row, they're playing bank. Okay, tomorrow we'll talk about a different kind of player, not tomorrow, Monday, a different kind of player who plays baccarat a little bit differently, right? Who plays it different. The math player will play baccarat banker only, and they may just do a very simple bet progression and nothing else. Okay, there's no counting cards in baccarat, so they can't do a bet level thing. They may do a little increment, but that's it. That's the way the math guys look at things. Lowest house edge, done. If a mathlete's playing poker, look out, right? There's two players in poker that worry you. One is the math guy that knows everything, has every single combination of cards memorized. I see a jack and a 5 in my hand, And we see the, the 2, 4, and a 9 of different suits. They know everything. They know the probabilities of every possible outcome for all of you based on what they see and what they have, right? Those people are gonna bet, push, call, rate, whatever, based on pure calculations. There's no thought process to it. It's interesting because that way of playing informs the field player, right? If you've got that, plus you can read somebody, run for the hills, right? But that's the math guy in poker. The math guy in poker has it all memorized. They know every single possibility. Be careful of them, right? And if you're that guy, again, you're playing a very mechanical game. For the most part, the math player is playing mechanically. Banker, 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 banker. In poker, it's this, no, I'm not betting. It's this, no, I'm not betting. It's this, I'm betting, right? There's not a lot of thought put into it. Again, the mathlete to me is not thinking in the moment, they're just calculating in their head, and that's it. So there's a mechanicalness to it, but there's also a deep sense of knowledge behind that. I think it's important to realize that it's not a bad way to do it because it does lower the house edge. When you play this way, the house edge is lowered for the most part for you. And we have to realize that these players are right. In craps, although you're at the casino for an hour and you're only seeing 63 rolls, across your whole life, you're seeing thousands and thousands of rolls, and all those rolls and all those bets, all of that stuff matters in the long run. You just don't see it that way. But if you add it up every time for the last 3 years you bought in for $500 and what happened to you, that's the game you're playing. It's not that 45 minutes that you're there. The mathlete realizes that. The regular player, like all of us, we know that intrinsically, but we don't think about it. We're just here for the moment. And there's a big difference there, the in the moment versus the long play. So anyway, that's what mathletes to me kind of look like. Let's go to my table. I'm gonna show you some craps things here that sort of highlight some of this. And let's get to it. You switch into this screen here. I'll take Jacob's felt off of the table and we will, oh boy, I'm so happy I had this. Now this is gonna get framed. I'm gonna take Jacob's felt now. I'm gonna put that into a frame and mount it. It's one of my prized possessions now. That, along with the felt from the Desert Inn, that was the original felt from my table, my big table. All right, here we go. Let's play a mathlete way, and you're gonna need bankroll for this. I'm gonna explain all of this to you here in a second. Let's get over here. I'll put my losing stack from this morning out. I'm gonna put $2,500 in this rack because we're gonna need all of it to make this happen. We're gonna play a Molly and we're gonna play a Dolly today. I'm gonna show you why this works. Okay, here we go. We'll do quarter-sized bets, okay? We'll start with a pass line. We're gonna do a 3-point Molly today to start with. Now, here's the way that the house edge kind of works. It's based on the winnability of the bet, probability speaking. So here in this position, okay, this right here, folks, best bet in the casino, right there. That is the best bet ever you can place in a casino. And I'm gonna say that out loud so everybody hears it. All my math friends can hear me agree with them. Greatest bet of all time. Why is it the greatest bet of all time? Well, this is gonna pay you even money if it wins when the puck is off, right here. A 7 or an 11 wins on the pass line. That's 6 ways to win on a 7. That's 8 ways to win on the 11. Okay, so here it is. I'll put them out here. We'll put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to win on the 7, plus 2 ways to win on the 11, versus you can lose on the 2, the 12, or the 3. 4 ways to lose, 6 ways to win, or 8 ways to win. Do the math, folks. That's 2 to 1. You're a 2 to 1 favorite to win. That's literally Michigan playing Appalachian State. Okay? They can play Appalachian State 600 times and lose once. This is actually a little bit worse odds than that, right? But you're such a dominant force right here. For one roll, you're a dominant force. In fact, you've got 8 ways to win. You got 3 ways to lose. That's 4 ways. That's 12 combinations out of 36. The other combinations just don't matter. The other 24 things don't matter to you. They're non-events. So really, there's only a small handful of things that can go wrong or good. When you're a 2-to-1 favorite and you're getting paid even money, get that. Go find a casino that'll pay you even money when you bet Michigan against Appalachian State. You'll never find it. That's going to be like a whatever. You're going to put up 10 times to win one normally. That's a great bet. Okay. However, once you're here, that bet's not so good because you're paying even money when you're the dog. You went from being a 2-to-1 favorite for one roll to now being a 3-to-2 underdog or a 2-to-3 underdog here, still getting paid even money. Now you're betting Appalachian State against Michigan and getting even money for the win, which sucks. This is an awful bet. Once the number is established for you, the bet sucks. But overall, that 2-to-1 advantage on the first roll combined with the little bit of an underdog status you have here, and again, you're a 3-to-2 or 2-to-3 underdog here, you're a 1-to-2 underdog here, and you're a 5-to-6 underdog here. That's less of a dog than you were the chief on the come out roll. The combination of those two make that bet about a 1.4 house edge, which is great. 1.4% house edge here is fantastic compared to just placing the 5, where you're at almost a 5% house edge on this bet here. Okay, and the house edge is just defined by how much they're taking off the top of these bets when you get paid. Okay, $30 5 is a better example, right? $30 5 should pay $45, right? There's two $15 units here. You should get paid 3 $15 units. $45. What do you actually get paid? $42. They're sucking you for $3 on that bet. That's what the house edge looks like on a place bet. That same $30 behind the line pays you $45. So these odds back here pay true. What you should get paid is paid back there. It kind of makes up for this right here. So the math guy says, I know that, right? So what I'm going to do all the time is maximize my odds because these odds are paid true. Over the course of a billion rolls, this bet is 0. Right? There's no advantage to you or the casino for just the odds bet. And the way that works out is this. On a point of 5, what'll happen is this. I'll put the odds right here. You're going to lose this 6 times. You're going to lose $30 6 times because the 7's going to come 6 times. So 30 times 6, I think is 180, right? 175, 180, right? You're going to win down here though 4 times. 4 times 45 is, somebody tell me in the chat, it's also 180. You're going to win 180 the 4 times you're supposed to. You're going to lose 180 the 6 times you're supposed to. This becomes a zero-sum game. That's the reason why, by the way, you get no comps for the odds. Because the odds are paid true. There's no advantage to the house or to you. It's like the bet is invisible. This is the bet that carries the edge. So to maximize or minimize that, you have to maximize your odds. That's what a Molly does. On the Dolly, laying max odds does the exact same thing. Let's play this out. Let's actually go. I got $2,500. Let's roll out a little bit here. I got some time. Let's. I'm zoomed in, so trust the dice. As I say, we're on the pass line. We'll play a few hands of this. There's a 4-3-7 on our come out, which is great, right? We're just gonna play it straight up. Again, you just got paid even money when you were a 2-to-1 favorite. It's amazing. There's a quarter. There's a 6, a 5-1, 6. The point goes to a 6. What you're gonna do here on the 6 is take the max odds they'll let you. On a 3-4-5 table, that's 125. At my casino, 10x is 2. I can take 250 back here. 10 times the flat I can take in odds. 250. That's what you should do, right? If you have the predilection to play a math-based way, lower the house edge as much as you can, you do this. Because this bet right here, the house edge on that bet right there now is about 0.4%. It's less than 0.5%. That's the reason why the math guys will only ever do this. Max odds here, and we're coming through with another bet once we're set, okay? There's an 11 yo, and again, you're a 2-to-1 favorite, you just got paid. You brought back $50 already, right? Again, realizing how powerful that bet is. That thing wins. I'm telling you what, when you look at there's a 6, 4, 2, 6. The advantage here in the come on these things is an amazing advantage. When I run come bets versus place bets, it wins always more. I know you don't believe me, but it wins more because of what you just saw. Okay, that goes to the 6. The come bet travels, the puck is off because the point got hit. We get paid 1-to-1 on the flat bet when you were the underdog, which sucks. But because we have all the odds back there, right, that pays $300. Straight up. $250 for $300 in the back. And let's put our bankroll back together again. Here we are. We're at original bankroll with $325 in profit and 2 bets sitting here. I could pull this down and go bye-bye. Math guy won the short game, or math guy stays in the game and does the exact same thing. We'll take all of our profit. We'll go to 250 on the odds there. We'll come out again. Odds are off. 4, 3, 1, 4. And again, math guy doesn't care that it's a 4 because math guy knows you're going to lose the 250 back here 6 times, but you're going to win 500 3 times. It's a wash. In the long run, it's a wash. Now we've got a 6 and a 4. One more bet coming. There's the 6, a 5-1-6. How beautiful is that? That's going to come down. This is going to travel up. We're going to get paid again $300 for the odds, $25 on the flat. $250 goes right back up in odds. Next come bet's in. $300 to the rack. Now we have our full bankroll in the rack. $2,500. I got the massive bet out here on the 6. I got a massive bet out there on the 4. And I got another bet coming. I'm locking up 125. Right? Happened to be, where was this roll, by the way, during the daily paycheck, right? Look at the potential wins we've got. I could pull all this down. I got 250 here and 250 here. That's $500 in odds that I can take right back to my rack and add it right here and walk out of here with $600. Right? If you're playing the short game, even as a math guy, the short game can be your thing. And say, hey, win is a win, I'm gonna run. Or let it keep rolling, right? There's a 5. I'll finish this shooter out. No matter what happens, we're gonna win, right? We roll a 7 here, we're gonna be still up 1 1/4, but we're going for a home run. The folks that say the math guys never hit home runs are, oh, sorry, it goes to the 9, are not being truthful. There's 250. That's actually got to be 240. I guess, can I do that, 250? I really can't. We got to go 240, I guess, right? We'll do 240. Can't quite get it right. It's got to be even odds. Here we go. Now we're set. 3 awesome bets. There's an 8. Now we could actually lose. We could lose all of it and be in a bad way. There's a 5. But yeah, math guys can hit home runs too. When these bets, if these bets start paying off, math guy hits big home run, right? It's possible. It's not always grindy. I think that's a misnomer that runs around, that these guys that are playing this way are super cautious. To me, this is a very aggressive way to play. It is house edge based. There's like my house edge here across these bets is like I said, 0.4%. And I got a lot of money out there. You need a huge bankroll to play this way. And again, I'm going now from being up 600 to being potentially down 200 because of the aggressiveness of the betting that I'm doing. So think about that, right? As you're playing the pure math, again, not thinking at all. I'm literally just putting bets out there, one after the other. There's my 6, that pays, that's fantastic. All right, that's gonna come down. Gets paid 25 flat. It gets paid 300 on the odds, okay? The come bet travels up. The odds go right back to it. $300 to the rack. And the next come bet is on the way out. Actually, we're set. We don't have to do another come bet. We have our 3. Let these bets resolve, right? Come on. 4, look at us. Hitting the frickin' point, baby. There's 25 flat, and there's gonna be 500 for the 250 in odds. right? Yahoo, look at our rack. 500, 6, 7, 800, and whatever all that mess is profit. That's all. This is our starting. We can't lose here. No matter what happens now, we're taking back 500 bucks. I'm willing as a math guy to burn what's there to get the next pass line bet going. Aces. We will lose. We will go back. There's a 6. The odds come back because they're off. Flat bet comes. Normally, I work my odds on the come out. That's just me. 250 in odds on the 6, and we're coming through again. 8. Boy, oh boy, we're going to have odds everywhere, aren't we? Comeback goes to the 8. 250 in odds. That will be our last bet, I think. I'm going to go ahead and lock up. Nah, we'll play out the what's up there. Here we go. Give me something good. Heart 4. Nothing. There's our 7. Okay, we're going to lose it all. We're going to burn a lot, right? This is why I say the math way of playing is not necessarily a safe way of playing. I know folks think that these guys are super safe. Look what was out here, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 15 bucks on the felt when that 7 happened, okay? That's an aggressive move. Comebacks with 10x max odds is an aggressive play. It needs massive bankroll to work, but it's also purely based in math. It's purely based in lowering the house edge. Very easily could have gone down $1,000 quick. If I didn't hit that 6 a couple of times in there, and that 7 came earlier, all those bets come down before I get to the point where I have 500, 600, 735 bucks in profit. Not bad, right? Short game. That guy could easily throw that much money back. Now let's do the other side of it. And craps, the other side of this is the don't come player. Let's go ahead, or don't pass. There's some greens, same thing. Except for here, in this position, this is the worst bet in the house, okay? Here, you've got, in red, two ways to lose on the 11, 6 ways to lose, that's 8 ways to lose between the 6 and the 11. You only win on the 2 or the 3. The 12 is a tie. Now you're an 8-3 underdog getting paid even money. This, again, betting on Appalachian State versus Michigan and getting even money. That bet sucks, right? One of the worst bets in the house right here in front of you. That's terrible, right? But if you can survive those 8 ways to lose and the 24 ways that don't matter, you're going to be, again, on the flip side of the conversation. Let's get a point. I'll show you what I mean. Of course, we roll a 7 and we lose it. That's going to happen. It's going to happen down here. You have to kind of, if you're playing the dark side, you're going to have to sort of eat that. There's an 8, 5, 3, 8. Now, even though the 8 is an easy number to roll, you are still the favorite. 6 ways to win, 5 ways to lose. You're the favorite. This might be Michigan playing Michigan State, as much as it hurts my soul to say that, or Michigan playing Washington, where you're a slight favorite. You're still the favorite, and you're getting paid even money on the win. But what you want to do here as a dark side player, again, is maximize the odds. Go max that you can, because the 7 is still the strongest bet. We're going to have another DC bet coming. And again, I can win up to 10 times that bet. Okay, so on a 10x table, a little bit of math here, right? I can probably, if I laid 300, I'd win 250, right? 300 to win 250 on a 6 or 8. That works just fine. That is 10x that bet. Let this one come out here. Now, a 7 comes out now. This bet would lose, but that bet would win. Those become a cancellation. These become the free bet, right? The free odds play lives there. And again, math guy, right? Not being cautious. Math guy going, look at that. We got 350 out there in the felt right now, right? That's a huge risk. Huge risk. 4, 1, 5. That's going to go over here to the 5, behind it. And again, now you're the 3-2 favorite. getting paid even money, right? You go from being the underdog to being the big time favorite up here. And again, to win about 25 bucks, right? Or to win 250 up here, your odds, if you put 300 in odds, it would win 200. That's close enough to me. Lay 300 up here to win 200. That's fine. You can lay 375 to win 2.25, which is about that. If you want to be really exact with it, that's the way to go. 375 to win 225, which is essentially what that, or 250, which is what that would be. One more DC bet. And again, huge advantage on the 7, big risk for here. This bet sucks for a minute, but again, those odds, there's our 7. Those odds will always come back and pay true when it's all done. This bet goes bye-bye. Who cares? You win on the flat, you're going to win 250 up here on the odds. You win your flat down here, and again, 250 in your odds there. And guess what? The aggressive don't player just walked out of here. Watch this. Let's color him up really quick. There's $200 in greens. If I put his rack back together again, a lot of money out of that rack, by the way. There is his 2,500 starting bankroll. 1, 2, 3, 400, 75, 500 bucks in profit. We did get picked on the one thing, right? Boom, just like that. Max odds, super math way to play. Again, those bets down there were less than 0.5% house edge. It takes big time bankroll and big time guts to play that way. It's a very aggressive way to play, but it's pure math, okay? Skills question earlier, is this guy a thinking player? No. They're a knowledgeable player, right? They aren't trying to play battleship or play chess out here. They're just saying the lowest house edge bet is that. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to max the odds. Let the dice figure it out for me, okay? I've said this before. As aggressive as it is, as adrenaline rushing as that is, I find this way of playing personally a little bit boring. Not going to lie. A tiny bit boring. And a tiny bit like you're throwing your hands up and saying, well, I don't want to think anymore, right? I don't want to try and outsmart the game. I don't want to have any say in the matter. I'm just going to throw bets out there and let the dice put them where they go, and then I'll drop more money on it and hope that the dice keep playing with me. Today we hit perfect rhythm twice, right? The Molly player won bank until that final 7 came. The Dolly player won bank on the first 7, right? Both players made money by being aggressive, by having big bankroll that matched the aggressive level, and by playing only math-based bets, only bets that make sense from a mathematical standpoint. So that's a good look, I think, at how the math guy approaches the game of craps. Let's come back over here. You can say that that's boring, and I did run that 3-point Molly strategy for a full month as a daily paycheck strategy, and I hated it. I didn't like having my choices taken from me. I didn't enjoy having all that money out there all the time. I felt like I was really exposed most of the time. When it won like that. Come out of the gate, boom, 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 get my bets winning, and I'm home, right? When it lost like that, right? When it lost, it's like pass max odds, come max odds, come max odds, 7. And you lose 800 bucks out of the starting gate, right? Painful way to play on both sides, right? It's to me, it's an all or nothing way to play, which again, I don't think most people put math focused players in an all or nothing category, but that's actually what they're doing here. And I think the same thing happens in card counting on blackjack, right? When you're in that move, right? Boom, it's all or nothing, right? You're going to maximize your bets while the shoe is thick for you, right? While the count is thick, you're maximizing your bet spread. Taking a huge swing. It's not like you're taking small swings. These guys are taking big swings in all those games. And I think that, to me, is the hallmark of a math player. They're literally trying to hit home runs when the timing is proper, which, again, opposite of probably what you thought about them. So mass respect to the guys who are willing to put that kind of paper out there and make it happen. Again, personally, Not for me. When I look at myself in the mirror and say, which kind of player am I? I'm not circling the math guy box. Although I love the math of the game, I like to calculate things out. I'm definitely not in that camp where the house edge matters so much that I'm willing to rail dump to get the lowest house edge. Hope that makes some sense. So let's hit some Q&A. Let's go to questions and answers. I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna actually do some PC looking in here and see who's saying what. Let's see. Why do people care what other people think about DI? Must be you. I agree. And again, we're going to get into the DI stuff a little bit probably here, maybe some more tomorrow, but it shouldn't matter, right? It really shouldn't matter. To me, I think somebody said this on Joe's show. I forget where. To me, the journey of a DI or a non-DI, whatever camp you land in, it's a personal journey, right? It's a personal journey. I think you doing what you're going to do to suit your game, right? To suit your mindset. If you don't think it's real, then don't try and set the dice. Right? If you think it's real, then set the dice, right? If you're not sure, practice and see and make your own call. It doesn't really affect anybody else. I think where some of the church of the anti-DI, whatever you want to call that, they get pissy because DIs can get preachy, right? Or walk up to him and say, "Hey, I'm a great shooter," and then he PSO, right? I think it's like it just hackles their shaft a little bit, right? That's where it gets in there. Just don't make it personal. It's personal to you. It should be totally fine, right? It should be totally fine. I think that's fine. Let's see. Skill says, question for Mathlete, which better, pass line with odds versus a don't with odds? Do we don't with odds is I think one of the, it's not a good bet. And I've done this before in Skill. I'll do it again. I think it's a really good question. And I think it deserves almost a whole show to go through some of this stuff. When you do a do we don't, and I've done it with a do we don't and $1 on the midnight, just to kind of catch it up there, and just the odds, because the idea of a do we don't is to only have the free odds. Okay, no comps on that strategy. You're going to cancel out on the do we don't, and the odds don't matter. However, on the pass line side of that, you lose out on that 2-to-1. That 2-to-1 advantage on the come out roll, it comes into play more often than you think, and more often than I thought. I ran some analyses on it, and I couldn't believe how much of a difference it makes. In other words, if you were to say, let's have a place bet on the 8 for $30 and a $25 come bet that travels to the 8, and then they both get paid, and they both come down after that second hit. So basically, the place better will take 2 hits. 35 and 35. The come better will be in the come, go to the 8, take the hit, and come down. The come better wins in that situation every single time. That 11, that 7 in the come out, they stack up so much, so frequently. It's unbelievable to me how often that part of the bet wins, and it makes up for everything else. It's honestly shocking when you see it. And the math guys are going, "See, told you, John. You didn't believe us. We told you." I believe it. Like, I've seen that now, and I've done it so many times, that the actual bet in the come or on the pass line is so strong. That one roll advantage, it's a one roll hop, but it is so strong. It makes up for the ugly. It's very interesting to watch in the thing. So there it is. Let's see. Gargoyle says, there should not be a conflict or war between, you're right, there shouldn't be any conflict here, but yet there is. There are people, and I think it comes from strong feelings. I think, and I don't want to use religion always as the example, but it's the easiest one. You can go, liberal, conservative, whatever you want to do. But when people have a very strong feelings, is even the wrong word. Let me try and say it like this. If it's your brand, like if it's your soul, right? And I know, and I don't want to speak for you. I never would speak for you, but DI is, you say it's a lifestyle for you, right? It's part of your soul. It's part of your makeup, right? And a lot of other people are the same way. It's the definition of who you are, right? It's your identity. And when somebody comes along and says your identity, when somebody says DI is bullshit, there's no other way to take that than for you to translate that and say, I am bullshit then. You're saying me, if I identify that way and you're saying that thing is bullshit, you're saying I'm bullshit. That's where the tensions come, right? And I think that comes from people on both ends of that cycle. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Well, you actually are calling the person a piece of shit. And I think that's what raises it up. I think 99% of us would agree. You're on your own journey. We're all on our own journeys. You should be allowed to be on your own journey. I guess that's what it comes. There should never be any animus. There should never be any negativity or war about this. If you really feel strongly about it one way or the other, good. And matter of fact, I would say evangelize, spread the word, right? On both sides. If you're going to be anti, then let's do what we can to show more slow-mo and show more and spread the word. But don't spread the word in an assholey way, and don't denigrate the people. On the DI side, same thing can be said, right? Spread the word, do your thing, put it out there, let folks make their decisions. But whatever decision somebody makes is their own decision. And I think people internalize it too much, and I think that's a shame. That's where it comes from. I think that's where, I'm guessing, I think that's where it comes from. I think that's because folks identify as one or the other. And when your identity is challenged, you take it personal. You can't help but take it personal. And if you look at like the US, what's going on in America today, with pick the social issue you want to pick. It could be anything. It could be the gender stuff. It could be the religion stuff. It could be the border stuff, whatever it is, right? If part of your identity, how you see the world or how you interpret or kind of consume or assume that role in the world, when that role gets attacked, it comes down to you as a person. And I think people take that stuff very personally. That's where I think from a social construct, that's where it's all happening. And again, I'm not a social scientist. I'm not anything like that. I'm just telling you how I'm interpreting it myself for me and how I see things. So I hope that's making sense. And I do that, right? Stay respectful. Doesn't matter, right? Ultimately it doesn't matter, right? Unless you fall into the snake oil camp, right? And you know this, Gargoyle. If you're falling into that snake oil camp where, follow me to the whatever, and pay money along the way. When you turn into a cult, that's where it becomes a problem. I don't think any of us are doing that. Let's see. Waylon says, flat DP with no odds versus odds. The issue is, and I agree, I'm a flat bet player. I believe that the flat bet, we're going to hop around here. I believe the flat bet on the don't, best bet in the house. Love the flat bet on the don't. The problem is to take full advantage of it. When it travels, it's got to be huge in the DC, right? So like a $500 DC is a bitch to get through. You lose that one, right? Making that back is hard. Sure, the next one comes out, it goes up, you win it, you're back to even again. It's hard to live in that grind. The odds make up for that. And the odds being no edge, it's a very palatable bet. And if you look at over time, flat bets versus, if I take a $100 flat versus 25 with 75 in odds, the odds player wins. And I can do that in win craps too. I've done it before. Bigger flat versus a small flat with odds, the odds player wins more money over time. And it's because of that super disadvantage you have in that one roll. That one roll that's a monster for the pass line guy is a disaster for the DC guy and the DP guy. And that's what accounts for it. The odds actually make it better. Although short term, I agree. I love playing the flats. I like to rock the flats. I like to parlay my flats. I think that's the way to win on the don't, right? If you can get a good run of don'ts with parlayed flats, that's where you can knock. We saw it yesterday. That's where I can knock 2 units into 15 units in 4 outcomes. That's where that really can happen, right? I think that's a great point, Waylon. And I totally agree with you. Yeah, has a much higher house edge than picking a side. You have to account for not getting the win. Not getting the win on the pass line is an enormous give up for sure. So there we go. Holy Roller says DIs lose money on randoms and randoms lose money on DIs. And again, I will take one little, I'm going to circle. I can't circle it for you. One little niglet there, right, is this whole thing of like calling people randoms, right, or Randy as Waylon calls, right? Again, assigning a name to somebody who does something that you're not in agreement with is a bad thing, right? We got to stop doing that, right? I don't know how to refer to folks, but that's part of it too, right? Is like, it's everything feels judgy when you're on the other side of that word, right? We got to remember that. It's very hard to remember that, but we got to remember that, and I think it's an important little thing, right? I don't know. But I'm not saying I want to hurt feelings, but I think we got to just be aware of that. Just be aware that somebody's on the other side of the word all the time. So, all right, let's get out of here. Any questions? Any Qs? There's no big Qs. Big Q or big G from Clay Hall. People need to bitch. I agree that people have a need to bitch. That's for sure. Honestly, I like the bitching a little bit. I don't like when it gets ugly, but to me, bitching leads to debate. Debate leads to anger sometimes. But when you go and come back to here again, the discussion that happens after all that can be really, really good. And I think we're in a spot now where we're about to have a really, really good discussion. I hope, right? Let's get out of here, folks. It is past 9 o'clock. I went too long. Hopefully that was a good session today. The rollout couldn't have been better, right? I mean, when I cut this video down for the ProCraps channel, the rollout to prove the math guys' way of playing couldn't have gone any better. One clean shot today. Both guys made a fortune. I'm just going to drop the mic on that and get the hell out of here, guys. All right. We are done. Have a great Thursday. Wow, it's Thursday. Love y'all. And I mean that with all sincerity. I don't care where you land on any of these topics. The fact that there are now 42 people still listening to me is great, right? The fact that there were 40 people watching me fail this morning is great. The fact that we're all having these discussions, great. The fact that somebody just gave me a thumbs down, awesome, right? Engagement's where it's at, right? For YouTube channel operators like myself, for everybody who does this for a living, engagement's where it's at. As long as the engagement is professional and as long as the engagement is on the up and up, nobody's telling lies, coming with your facts, coming armed, coming aggravated is fine. To where it's at. We need to have more discussions and less preaching, right? So I think that's where I want to get this thing to. So I'm happy that you're all here and putting up with my sorry ass. All right, have a great Thursday. Love y'all. God bless. See you tomorrow. Bye.